Christmas message. What an amazing statement. In the bleak midwinter, a wonderful Christmas carol. At the end, asks a question. What can I give him? And he says a carol.
Well, there's just a little snippet of the BBC News that's been pouring 24/7 into our channels now for what, 3 days. It goes on and on and on and on. And we're going to get this for I think another 10 days. Sorry. I've a lot of sympathy for the Queen. Nice old lady. Never did me any harm. Might have done a few other folks some harm. Somewhere else in the world, that's another issue. However, I can understand the mourning, and people are entitled to mourn, but this is propaganda. The BBC is turning into a pro-monarchy, pro-union, pro-establishment propaganda. They're interviewing all these people that are turning up at the palaces, etc., and there's obviously significant numbers. They don't interview anybody that Disney go. What about the 98% of the population that's nowhere near Buckingham Palace? There's 15 million people live in London, and they're interviewing the, 50,000 tops that are down at Buckingham Palace? Why just not go to a shopping centre? Also, the one thing that strikes me as somebody from Scotland that goes to London is it's a very mixed place. I think it's over half the population of London are non-white. Just look at these crowds, lily white. They'll find a few black people though and put them on, but just look at the crowds. And you tell me where's half the population of London for starters. It's no discussed, nothing's discussed. The fact that he's no Charles III, he's Charles I. There's never been a Charles I of the United Kingdom. There's never been a Charles II. There's been a Charles I and Charles II in England. So why is he Charles III? Is he meant to be the king of everybody? Why is this no discussed? Why is it even happening? Why is it allowed to happen? And what about the Queen's estate? The Queen's one of the wealthiest person in Britain, in the world. The world. I mean, nobody quite knows what she's worth. She's worth billions. Billions. There'll not be a penny in death duties paid on her estate. Charlie will inherit it all. He puts it into trust, he says, and return to the sovereign bank. He keeps it. They keep it. They pass it down to the generations. They never pay a penny in tax. Even rich people, even Donald Trump pays some tax. Even tax dodgers pay some tax. They pay nothing. You'll not hear it mentioned in the BBC. You'll hear everything about their shoe size, about the folk they met in Canada in 1972. You'll hear nothing about the fact they pay no inheritance tax. You'll hear nothing about the fact that he's not actually Charles III of anywhere other than England. And by the way, the English cut the head off the first one and chased the second one out of town and replaced him with a Scottish king. And there's an idea. It's a joke. They don't tell you anything. It's sanitised propaganda. Honestly, the Soviet Union is not as blatant. And I'll be keeping these up if I need to. I'll be no doubt called, this is a breach of copyright, I'm using BBC footage. Frankly, I paid for it, I pay my TV licence. It's as much mine as anybody else's. And I object to paying for shit going into my front room that I have to pay for. So, payback. I read the news today, oh boy, about a lucky girl who made the grade. And though the news was rather sad, well, I just had to laugh. I saw the photograph and blew its mind out in a car. I didn't notice that the lights had changed. The crowd of the people turned away. They'd seen its face before, but nobody was really sure that he was from the house. I saw a film today, oh boy. The English army had just won the war. crowd of people turned away, but I just had to. Way out there, the lights smoke. Somebody spoke and it came to me. I saw the news today, oh boy. 4,000 holes in Blackburn, Lancashire. And though the holes were rather small, we had to count them all. So now they know how many holes it takes to fill the album. I'd love to turn you on, turn you on. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, I'm talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Who people gonna rise up, take their share? Who people gonna rise up, take close there? Stand in line near the welfare line, crying to those steps of those armies of salvation. Waste some time on the unemployment line, waiting around, waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, I'm talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, I'm talking about a revolution. Don't you talk the revolution? Don't you know you better run? Hey, talk the revolution, rolling on. Oh, talk the revolution, rolling on. Oh, talk the revolution, rolling on. Someday, deep in my heart, I do believe shall overcome someday. Scotland will be free. Scotland will be free. Scotland will be free someday. Oh, one day. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe more people see one day. No more duty free. No more duty free. No more duty free today. Deep in my heart, I do believe Charlie should pay his taxes like me. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Oh, we shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I tell you, I do believe we shall overcome. Some Scotland will be free. Some of our side as well. One day. Breaking rocks, so I fought the law, I fought the law. Out, I needed money, 'cause I had none. I fought the law, I fought the law. Oh, I left my baby and I feel so bad. I guess my reason's wrong. She's the best girl that I ever had. Oh, I fought the law, but I won. Oh, I fought the law. Breaking rocks and a son. I fought the law. No one up, I needed money, 'cause I had none. Oh, I fought the law. Oh, I let my baby and the tail so bad. I guess my reason wrong. Oh, she's the best girl I ever had. I fought the law. I fought the law. I fought the law. Right, the Queenie's coming to Scotland, or rather she's in Scotland, she's coming down to Edinburgh today to Lion State. We're told crowds will be there, but not as many as would have been at Parkhead or at Ibrox or at Murrayfield or at lots of places. So keep these crowds in perspective. Of course crowds are going, it's advertising TV, you're virtually encouraged to go by the state. If you want to go, no skin off my nose, but BBC, stop pretending that this is most people. It's a certain type of person that likes to be involved in things. A few saddos who actually do think the Queen knows them or they knew the Queen. A lot of people just want to take their kids to something that's historic. Good luck to them, but it's not the majority of the population. The majority of the population will be in Tesco or at work or been pissed off with me watching on the TV. There are other channels available. But the Queenie's travelling down, so this is for her. And Katie. Oh, the summer time's coming, and the leaves are slowly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme rolls around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together, typical wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? It's a famous Scottish traditional song. Nobody knows who wrote it. I'm sure the Queen's heard it. I'm sure she loves it. So this is for her, Elizabeth Linton. A good old dear. She reminds me of my mother. That's the truth. About the same age. That's what a lot of people. She reminds you of your elderly relative. And I hate the way they're exploiting it to brand in the monarchy, and brand in the United Kingdom, and brand in Liz Truss, and brand in all these lackeys, and rehabilitate Prince Andrew, and do not have to pass you a death, but fundamentally decent women. By yon clear hand, crystal fountain, and on and I will pile all the flowers of the mountain. Will you go, unless you go, and we'll all go together to big wild northern time, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie go? Will you go, lassie go? Well, if my true love should leave, I should surely find another to pick wild mountain thyme all around the moon heather. Will you go, lassie go? And we'll all go together to pick wild mountain thyme all around the blowing heather. Will you go, lassie go? Will you go, lassie go? Will you go, lassie? Right, I'm going to leave you there with the BBC, the highly informative coverage, the comprehensive sycophancy, they just keep repeating the same programmes. I mean, it's unbelievable. They don't interview alternative viewpoints, but they've time to they'll say we don't have time to reflect everything, but they just put things in a loop. They literally repeat the same programme. I've seen the same programme about 8 times now, but not a single Republican voice on TV, not a single alternative perspective, not a single person discussing the tax affairs of the royal family, not a single person discussing the fact that we've got a ridiculous title for our monarch because there's never been a Charles the first or second of this supposedly equal union. None of this has been discussed. Kirsty Rourke knows all this, but she's not discussing it. Is she allowed to? Does she want to? I don't know. She's meant to be the doyen of Scottish journalism, and she's on just busloads of people from Aberdeen are flooding into Balmoral. I mean, I'm sure there are busloads, but how many relative to the population? How many people from Aberdeen got on a bus yesterday and went to Balmoral? I'm prepared to wager less than 1% of the population. In fact, less than half of 1% of the population of Aberdeen were on a bus yesterday and went to Balmoral. But Kirsty last night gives the impression that half the population of Aberdeen were queuing for buses. The propaganda construct is quite actually worrying because it actually shows you what a state broadcaster, uncontrolled, can do. We really should complain to Ofcom, not as a kind of waste of time, because this is a complete and utter construct. It does not in any way reflect what's happening outside. This is a nice posh village dollar. It's quite royalist. I'd imagine it's probably got a high population of kind of royalists in it. I was telling you, most folk just going on with their lives, you know, they're no, and go to a working class scheme. They couldn't give a toss about it. Outright hostility in some places. Also speak to the non-white population. Speak to people that come from empire countries, black empire countries, South Africa, where we were the last people out. Under the Queen, we were the last people out. Even the US under a Republican government dumped South Africa before the British state did. All the African states. India, Christ. Speak to Indians, Pakistanis, Sri Lankans, Irish. They'll not speak to these people because they all know enough of their history to know that the monarchy is symbolic of the British state, and the British state's a pretty stinking state. And the Queen, though she wasn't personally responsible, oversaw a lot of pretty dirty tricks operations, including one that's happening right now here in Scotland, by the way. Right now, and in the past, the British Secret Service, all over independence movements, dirty tricks, assassinations, blackmail. It's all there, under the Crown. The Crown is it. The Crown is the authority on which a lot of this dirty stuff happens. And the Queen, frankly, the Queen should not have signed off in Liz Truss. The Queen should, if she was doing a constitutional affair, she was ill, but if she was fully fit, she should actually have said, that's an illegitimate election process where 1% of the population, and the worst 1%, the people that actually were responsible for Boris, the fact that they get to pick Boris's succession, that's illegitimate. I'm not prepared to appoint Liz Truss as Prime Minister. I'm prepared to call a general election. That actually would have been a proactive role for a constitutional monarch. If there's ever a case for a constitutional monarch, we've just seen it. Because literally Liz Truss was, she could only get 50 votes of Tory MPs on the first round. Think about that. She get 50 or whatever, there's about 350 of them, only 50 of them actually wanted her. Of Tory MPs. But she's actually the Prime Minister as we speak. That's a coup. It's a British coup. It's a coup. And it's all headed up by the Queen saying that's alright. And the Queen says it's alright, so it's alright. And Carol says it's alright, so it's alright. But it's no alright. It's a coup. We've now got the most right-wing government in the world by a mile. By a mile. We'll now get people I would call proto-fascists as Home Secretary. Braverman, check her out. Theresa Coffey, the Deputy Prime Minister, is another one. I don't think it's unfair to call her a fascist, or certainly she could easily become a fascist. She's a fellow traveller. Look at her views. This is not an assertion of mine. Look at what she said. Look at her views on women's rights. Look at her views on the franchise. Look at Braverman's views on benefit. She's made a list said she wants a half benefit. Or worse, take away benefits. These people are now in senior positions of government. This government is far more right-wing than Boris's government. There's no a single member, but I think there's one. There's one of the almost half of Tory MPs, no, more than half of Tory MPs, remember, Rishi won the Tory MPs, Rishi won the ballot of Tory MPs, but there's only one supporter of Rishi in the entire government. That's unprecedented for a winner to so exclude. So, I mean, we're talking about something quite cynical here, very right-wing. Liz Truss is just a front. Rupert Murdoch and Rees Mogg and worse than that are running the fucking country now. We've got a proto-fascist government and signed off by the royal family. That's why it's kind of there. Gives it a veneer of respectability. And God knows what will happen if there's some genuine crisis over the winter or sooner. Christ knows. I hope old Charlie's as liberal as we're told he is, because he might be needed to interview to fucking save our skins. I might be contrary to what I'm saying, because we're talking about the most right-wing government. By a mile, the most right-wing. But we're not told this. It's just like, oh, nice old Liz Truss, she's a wee bit inexperienced, but that's it. No, she's no wee bit inexperienced. She's a total cipher for the far right in Britain. They've got the most right-wing government they've ever had, and can you believe the luck that the BBC and the media in general, and frankly the opposition, including the SNP, have just let this all been said, let this all happen under their watch, and no even said it. I know they can't stop it, but they can at least say it. And look at this. We're fed this pish. Meghan and Harry have now, so we're meant to believe they're made up because they go on a pre-arranged photo call. It's probably told that if you don't go on this photo call, see that money we're privately slipping you, it's going to end, so just go there for 10 minutes. But we're meant to believe that this is a genuine reconciliation. I'm sorry, the whole thing's it's pish. From start to finish, it's pish. I'm going to be doing this every day. If anybody wants to watch, fine. It's going to be on the record, so if you can't say you didn't know, because it's easy to find out. On the internet, all these things are easy to find out. It's easy to find out that the British royal family is not loved all over the world. The British royal family is loathed through parts of the world. Look at that last trip to Jamaica that William and they virtually had to abandon it because the Jamaicans just said, get to, your empire's over, get to. And everyone's saying that. The empire's finished. We're the last ones. We'll be the Welsh and us, the Northern Ice, the last ones standing. Everybody's out of town. The Canadians will be leaving gone, they're pretty loyal. The Australians, for bloody certain. Try and get a bet in Australia and open a republic in 20 years' time. Get the odds. But they tell me that. They tell me anything. There's actually unrest in India, the fact they've given a public holiday to the Queen, because they're saying, why on earth are we giving the successor to a guy that, the successor of a regime that shot our people, starved our people, partitioned our country, deliberately destabilised our country for the first 20 years. to keep their imperial. Why are we honouring these people? And it's not been discussed. It's as if it didn't happen. But it is happening. It is happening everywhere. And most people in Britain are just indifferent because they don't really know. But see, when you tell people, do you know that the Queen will not pay a penny on income tax, and that poor old Charlie's lost his mother? Come on, he's a 76-year-old man, he's lost his mother at 96. He's been lucky. I lost my mother when I was 16. My father was 19. My mother when I was 19, my father was 60. And I got a wee inheritance. But no several billion. And no tax free. I get taxed in the small pension my father paid me. I was lucky, but I got taxed. And these fuckers got away with it. And we're not even told it. Why? What is going on? What is going on? But I'm the mad one. I'm the mad one. Oh, calm it down. Can't he see this? Let them grieve. Let them grieve. Come on. It was a blessing. She's an old lady. She's a good innings. She's a great innings. There's no great sadness when a 96-year-old dies. Frail 96-year-old is a blessing. The main is like she's in the prime of her life and she's done poor old Charlie and all this. Come off. It's all pish. You know it's pish. And see the BBC reporters, they know this is all pish because they come from families. They've all got families, they've all got sons, they've all got daughters, they've all got aunties, they've all got maids, they've all got maids, they're all well paid. So they just know what the reporting doesn't reflect. It doesn't even reflect their own house. It doesn't even reflect their own family. And any family you'll have, half of them will be Republicans. Or at least soft Republicans. Half of them will be just saying, this is pish, get that telly off, I'm fed up, put it off, get it off. Put something on, put the football on, the football's off. But they allow you to play cricket. Cricket was allowed. England could play cricket yesterday at the Oval. But Airdrie couldn't play Hibs or whatever. I mean, what's that about? Literally, poor people meant to be more deferential. And the horse racing's on. All the top sports are on, you know. They're all on. The tops tell us what to do and then don't even do it themselves. I'm sorry, I'm out of here. I am out of here. This is pish. The whole thing's pish. Pish, pish, pish. Mince as we do in Scotland. Oh, Scotland does me have a king, and we didna have a queen. How could there be a Charles the Third when the first one's never been? Nae Charles the First, nae Charles the Twa, nae Charles the Treswell. We're gonna make up land Republican with a Scottish breakaway. Oh, Scotland does nae have a king, and we dinna have a queen. How could there be a Charles the Third when the first one never been? Nae Charles the First, nae Charles the Twa, nae Charles the Creswell Day. We're gonna make a land Republican with the Scottish breakaway. Now that was written by a guy called, well, a version that was written in 1952-53 at the time of the Queen's. The same controversy because she was never Elizabeth II either, because we never had an Elizabeth I. This is even worse. In 2022, they literally regard this so contemptuously, so irrelevant, that they just do this. You could have picked any name. I'll give you a good name. In fact, I'll propose this now, because you know it's been coronated yet. They can change this. Make him Philip the First. Philip the First. That'd be a good one. In honour of his father, who had to hang round as a kind of concert in an age where men were meant to be the better half. He had to tag round behind the Queen. Never was called king. There's never been a Philip of England or of Scotland or of Wales, to the best of my knowledge. So there, how about that? Philip the First, in honour of the Queen's concert and in honour of Charles' father. Would that not just be clever? That might even save the monarchy. But they're that arrogant, it didn't enter their head. They never even thought. Because we are just Let's trust they said it. What's your approach going to be to Scotland and Nicola Sturgeon? I'm going to ignore her. Oh, well done. They're going to ignore the democratically elected First Minister of Scotland. You think that's clever? Do you? Does anyone think that's clever? It's just dumb shit. Apart from being a breach of the law and the devolution settlement of 1999, it's just dumb. But they are ignoring this because they're calling him Charles III. There you go, King Charles III. He's no. I mean, they call themselves monarchists. They don't even understand their own system. You're the first, the second, the third because somebody before you has been that name, and there's never been a Charles III of anywhere other than England. So there we have it. It's official. The head of state says it. The name of the head of state says it. This is England. We're just add-ons. Wales, wake up. Northern Ireland, even you unionists, wake up. You don't even count. They're taking the piss. They're taking the piss. Oh, pirate ship, they rob I upon the merchant ship. Moment after they took I on the bottomless pit. The man was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. The fall of this generation triumphantly, and won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? Is all I ever had. Redemption song. I'm meant to picture sentimental slavery. No one else can free your mind. Have no fear of atomic energy. Cause one of them can stop the time. How long will they kill our prophets while we sit right back and look? Some said I'm just a part of it. You gotta play by the book. This fucking book. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever had. Redemption song. The redemption song. Redemption. That's me, because I've somewhere to go today. It's a commemoration of the anniversary of the Battle of Stirling Bridge, where Scotland stood proud, setting them homeward to think again. Against all odds, the Scottish Army at Stirling Bridge stood their ground. 11th of September, today, 1297. And a relevant battle? Maybe. I didn't think so. But I'm going to commemorate it with a lot of people. Stirling Bridge, I think it's about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, Stirling Bridge. Come along, learn something. And English people, Welsh people, French people, all people, very welcome. We'll sing some songs. Land of the purple heather, land of some shocking weather, land of Elvis Presley's mother, Scotland the brave, land of some high endeavours, Harry Potter, Ewan McGregor, land of Sir Sean forever, Scotland the brave. Oh, high-tech computer dolls, royal banks and shopping malls, Burger Kings, Vintney, Polaris, Moscow, Houston, Texas, Paris, hip-hop, Bangor, Ballet classes, River City, 3 bus passes, Robbie Bungs and Pony Lassies, Scotland the brave. Amanda, Mary Ann, Prince Charlie, Adam Smith and Mick McGahey, referendum, Aaron Parley, Scotland the brave. A land where the poll tax ended, land where Dennis Wood suspended, land where Barnsley were offended, Scotland the brave. Land where the folks run safe, folks look forward to a day our students get cash, take it clever, Warren sales have gone forever. Davy Cooper, Henrik Larsson, Andy Murray, Highland Dance in Murrayfield, the Aurora Hamden, Scotland the brave. roses for Rosa. Oh, land of all creeds, all colours, Polish, English, Muslim brothers, land where we live together, Scotland the brave. Oh, where gay folks are defended. Now that clause is ended, John Knox was fair offended. Scotland the brave. James Connolly and John McLean still standing up for hungry Waynes. Annie Lennox, William Wallace, joining in the freedom chorus. Land of the purple heather, land of the shining rivers, land of my heart forever, Scotland. Oh, the brave, right, be brave, Scotland. Don't put up with this pish, be brave. Adios, amigos.